What would you do if the dream home you worked a decade to buy turned out to be a lie? Most people would fight in court. But me, I chose patience. And after 6 years of silence, I delivered a revenge so subtle, so relentless that it destroyed a man's marriage, career, and reputation, all without me lifting more than a pen. If you've ever dreamed of the perfect comeback, hit subscribe and drop a like. This story isn't just about revenge, it's about patience, creativity, and karma catching up in the most poetic way. Let's dive in. 7 years ago, I finally reached the milestone I'd been chasing for over a decade, buying my own home. Not a rental, not a shared space, but a place that was mine. I had worked tirelessly. 10 years of saving, grinding, sacrificing weekends, living frugally while watching friends splurge. Every dollar went toward that down payment. And when I finally signed those papers, when I finally turned the key to that front door, it was like touching freedom itself. But here's the thing. Dreams come with compromises. As a single buyer, I couldn't afford a grand estate or sprawling land. What I could afford was a property on a shared block, what's called a strata title in my area. Now, for some people, strata living is fine. You get communal repairs, cheaper insurance, even maintenance taken care of. But for me, an introvert who loved privacy, the idea of committees, rules, and neighbors breathing down my neck was a nightmare. So I did my research. I hunted for months until I found what felt like the golden ticket of property on a shared block, but with a freehold title, no committees, no bylaws, just my slice of peace with only one tiny condition. I'd split liability insurance for the shared walkway with my neighbor. Perfect. At least, that's what I thought. The betrayal 5 months later, I got a knock at my door. It was the landlord next door wanting to discuss insurance. No problem. We'd split costs. I asked for the paperwork, expecting a simple liability policy. But when I opened it, my stomach dropped. It wasn't liability insurance. It was strata insurance. Wait, what? Confused, I dug deeper. After calls, paperwork, and legal checks, the truth became undeniable. My dream, freehold property, was actually a strata title. That wasn't just a clerical error. That was deception. And the real estate agent who sold it to me, he had put it in black and white that it was freehold. My lawyer had even confirmed it with him in emails. And yet here I was, holding proof that my biggest life purchase was built on a lie. When I confronted the agent, I came armed with emails, printouts, everything. I expected some kind of accountability, maybe even an apology. But this guy, he denied everything. Smooth smile, shrugged shoulders, wouldn't take responsibility. Mediation followed. All I asked was simple. When the time came to sell my home, he'd cover my selling costs. That's it. A small token to acknowledge his mistake. He refused. Offered me a measly $1,000 to go away. I declined. Sure, I could have gone nuclear, sued him, dragged him to court. Even the mediator encouraged it. But my health wasn't great at the time. I didn't have the energy to fight a drawn-out battle. So I walked away. But I didn't forget. The spark of revenge. See, I'm not impulsive. I don't lash out in the heat of anger. My revenge is patient, deliberate, and sharp enough to cut deep years later. So I began to plan. I found his personal Facebook page, carelessly left public. Vacation photos, boys on tour, albums, smiles, and beers. I also found his home address through a business registration search. And that's when the idea hit me. It wouldn't be a lawsuit. It wouldn't be a public fight. It would be psychological warfare. 6 years of subtle chaos. On the 1-year anniversary of my home purchase, I sent him flowers. A beautiful bouquet with a card that read, "Dear real estate agent, remembering you on this our special day. She has your eyes. Love, L." Simple. Cryptic. Just enough to plant a seed of doubt. And I didn't stop. Every year on the exact anniversary, another bouquet arrived. Always from L. Always hinting at a mysterious love child. Sometimes the notes would change slightly. She misses you? On this day, we remember. But always tied to that phrase, or special day. I didn't just stop at flowers either. From time to time, I'd arrange postcards sent from overseas. The very country he had traveled to on his boys' trip. Signed, of course, Love, L. Imagine it. Year after year, like clockwork, mysterious reminders of a secret past landing on his doorstep. The fallout fast forward 6 years. Through mutual acquaintances, I learned the news. That real estate agent, he wasn't an agent anymore. He had lost his job, his house, and, most brutally, his marriage. Why? Because his wife had finally connected the dots. Those annual flowers, those cryptic notes, she tied them to the very time he had taken that infamous trip years earlier. And under pressure, he admitted to cheating on her. The kicker? Turns out, a year before I bought my house, he had gone on vacation, came home with an STD, passed it to his wife, somehow convinced her it wasn't his fault. So when the flowers started arriving every anniversary, it all lined up. His wife realized she'd been lied to. She left him, took the house, took half his retirement savings, and just like that, everything he'd built crumbled. Do I feel guilty? Sometimes. I never meant to break up a marriage, never set out to destroy his career. But then I remember this was a man who looked me in the eye and lied, who sold me a dream and left me with a mess, who shrugged off responsibility and tried to pay me off like I was nothing. And maybe my letters and flowers didn't cause his downfall. Maybe they just accelerated karma. Because karma, like me, is a patient, spiteful, vengeful thing. Sometimes revenge isn't about shouting the loudest or hitting the hardest. Sometimes it's about patience, about planting a seed of doubt and letting time do the work. In the end, justice has a way of finding its mark. What about you? Have you ever delivered a subtle revenge that hit harder than a scream? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to read it. And if you enjoyed this tale of slow, burn justice, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves seeing karma in action. Until next time, remember patience is power.